All right, so I'm going to attempt to explain the light bodies and how they function, okay, at the different density ranges and how it works as far as the one cosmic energy, source, God, and levels of awareness and embodiment, okay? Essentially, hopefully you guys can see this. This is very, not precise, but I felt like this was easier than doing a graphic, just so I can point to it and draw on it and stuff, okay? So essentially we have 3D, okay? Third density, second density, and first density is here. It's the void space. First density is actually a portal back to source. Okay, so this is essentially source. None of this actually exists. It's just an idea, thought form of source, okay, but we are looking at it in frequency bandwidths here, and how we can navigate this. Because if you don't understand the structure of the cosmos, then you're not going to understand how to work within it, okay? If you understand the structure of the cosmos, then you can work within it accurately, appropriately, with integrity, without getting lost or distorted, okay? And this is going to be really important because some of the stuff I talk about, we're dealing with source void. We're dealing with demonic entities, the ice energy, a lot of distorted darkness. All of this is coming up at a planetary collective scale right now, okay? It's the absolute darkness source void. It's energy that has zero access to true source light, okay? That is source void. So we can see that here, and this is just to help you make sense of it in your brain. Your brain is linear, okay? Our spiritual energies can access any of this at any point we want. However, we can't stabilize it and work with the energies until the light bodies are built and we're fully grounded, okay? So you have this vertical axis, I don't know why I say axis, and then you have pure source light is up here. So this is the polarized extreme of light. This is the polarized extreme of darkness. We have 12th density is here. So pure source is actually outside of that. Pure source energy would be 13th density. And it encompasses everything in here. Okay, 13th density pure source is all of this. Okay, 12th density is everything except for pure source. And so if we go over here, we have the Merkabas, which I'll go into in a second. So 12th density is primal sound, and it encompasses everything except for absolute pure source. Same with 11th, everything 11th and down. It contains all of that except for 12th and 13th, and so on and so on and so on. So if you get to 3D, if somebody is just a third density being, they are only able to embody and work with third density energy. So that is your thumbs, your hands, your feet, your body, okay? Then you move to fourth density and expands a little bit, okay? So with the light body structure, what happens is third density, it's the potentiality. It's the 6-point potentiality. Everybody has it, but it's not activated yet, okay? 4D, you have the 8-pointed star, and you have the 12-pointed star. So fourth density, Merkaba activates here. I had coffee this morning, so I'm very shaky. Sorry, I can't do coffee. I might not even try and draw this. Okay, so this is the fourth density star. I'm just going to leave this in here, okay? And so fourth density Merkaba can access 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D. So anyone can access 13th density through 1D, okay? It's the void space. It's in every atom. It's in your heart space. So 3D cannot access that because they haven't activated the heart. Technically, they could, but not really. The heart has to activate for you to activate the portal to source, okay? So anyone can access that through the void. The void exists in every atom, in every cell. throughout all time and space, okay, and specifically through the heart space. So anyone can go through that portal and access source, but you can't access it consciously, nor can you work with it if you're only working with the 4D Merkaba, okay, and that's the 12-pointed star, okay. So it's the tetrahedrons. We have 3 full tetrahedrons in that one, okay. So then we move to 5D, and again, we have just a little more access. I don't really know how to draw this, just bear with me. You guys understand what I'm doing. Okay, so 5D now, you can access 5D, 4D, and 3D energies. You can embody them, you can work with them, you can influence the field in a greater capacity there, okay? But you have to be anchored within the heart space and grounded here, okay? So 5D, you can access, if you notice, you access higher light and more darkness if you're balanced, okay? Some people could go into 5D resonance, but go into the upper spheres here, okay? And so they're accessing all of this information, but it's not balanced. You're moving towards a polarity, okay? And that polarity eventually will become imbalanced if you continue expanding, but you're expanding up here, and then all of a sudden you're in like no man's land up here as a human being, unable to anchor, ground, or work with these, okay? You have to be centered and balanced here with the darkness and the light to be able to work with material reality physically, to command space and time, to heal, to transmute, okay? If you're up here, you're lacking power in all of source, okay? It's an unbalanced space, okay? So you could go up there and have that access, but it's not going to be balanced. To do it, you have to be here, and that's why we build the Merkabas. But even if you have a Merkaba built, you still have to maintain it. It has to be strong, so you have to work with the plasma energy, you have to work with the tetrahedrons, you have to stay anchored, and you have to go into the shadows down here, okay? Same thing if we go into 6 density, okay? Then 6 density, we have more light, more darkness, okay? And that continues. 7th density, more light, more darkness, all the way up to 12th density. And we have the most light and the most darkness that we have to access, move through, and heal to activate, okay? That's why you can't just, and you have to go through each of these densities. 6, 7, 8. That's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay? In every density, you activate a new light body. The light bodies get more and more complex because you're working with more and more densities. In all of these densities, there's infinite dimensions, okay? Infinite in all of these, okay? These are bandwidths of frequencies with infinite amounts of information, reality structures, etc. Okay, so as you expand, your light body gets more and more complex so that you can access more complex intelligence, energies, frequencies, okay? And every step up, you have to learn to integrate the higher frequencies into the physical body, which exists here, okay? So if you're up here working here, you are not integrating the frequencies into the physical body. You're not going to be able to work with the density, dimensions, frequencies, molding space and time unless you're grounding. So it has to be balanced. You have to be anchored. So you could see this as darkness, but you could also see this as grounding into density, okay? There is definite darkness. There's source void energies. I'll go into that here in a little bit, but you have to understand this is the shadow. This is the unseen. Most of the darkness, dense energy, parasitic entities, etc., they exist in the shadows because the second they come into the light, they will either be transmuted, destroyed, or contained, okay? Because It is against karmic and universal law to use force in any capacity. So as you're expanding, you have to learn the shadow realms just as much as you learn the realms of light, okay? So this actually came to a head yesterday with me and an experience I had with a client. And I will go into this more so, but I want people to really understand this, because if you don't understand the structure of the universe, you can see somebody that understands the shadow realms and think that they're a dark being, when reality is anybody that actually expands into this level of consciousness has to know the darkness just as much as the light, okay? And this did come through also, actually I'll go into that in a second. So 5D is the 20-point star, so again, it's more complex. You have access to this much information. 70 is the 24-point star, 60 and 70, 24 and 70 is 2436. So 2436-point star would be around here, okay? And then again, we have access to this much light at 70. Okay, and then 8D is 36 to 48-point star, that's around here and here. 90 is 48 to 64, which is here and here. And then we have 10D, which is the 64 to 144. So at this point, you're actually able to work with structures, building structures at a planetary level, okay, at 10D. So this is where you're able to actually create change by yourself at a planetary level, okay, is here. Otherwise here, you can influence fields, you can influence communities, probably smaller communities, you can influence personal reality structures, you can do healing, 5D, 4D, 5D, 6D, but you're not going to be doing massive planetary work until the 144 is activated, and that's because you need access to more information, more intelligence, more power, because each level up, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, then we have the, is that 10D? Yeah, 11D is here. And again, that's stabilized. Is that 11D? Yes, that is the stabilized 144. So you can begin working with larger fields at 10D. At 11D, it starts stabilizing. Okay, so you can work with a 144-point Merkaba, activating it and using it to harmonize. Okay, and then at 12D, we have the diamond sun body. Okay, that is working with pure source energy. You're a pure source fractal. You have access to all information within the entire cosmic landscape, and it's not like you're holding it within your brain. You can access it, you can extract it, you can start working with it, okay? You can start working at higher levels of consciousness as a pure source being, okay? So this is angelic, archangelic abilities. Angelic is 90, so that would be here. Once you get here, you can work as the angelic human at a close to planetary level, okay? If you're in 5D and above, you are essentially an angelic being, okay? 3D would be the demonic or source void energies and entities, okay? So once you get to the diamond sun body, you're working with understand and know and integrated all shadows in the cosmic landscape, all darkness, okay, all inverted energies. You have worked with those and not played with them, manipulated them. You understand them so that when you come across them, you can neutralize them, okay? You can harmonize them. You can heal them. You can contain them, okay? If you don't understand the darkness, and you're working with the diamond sun body, it will fracture, it will distort, and it will fail, okay? So what happens as you're elevating to each level, if you don't maintain integrity, alignment with the light body will become corrupt and it will come offline, so you can't work with it anymore, okay? If it was a fatal flaw, it will become completely untangled, or sorry, it will come completely unraveled and you'll have to rebuild it from scratch, okay? Which usually takes lifetimes, okay? So what we do is we go through this, we build the Merkaba so you have a strong, stable structure. You can move through ascension. This is essentially ascension, it's expansion into higher and higher frequency fields of light, more and more information, okay, with each light body. So we build the structured light body and you expand, and then you have to stabilize it there. Okay, if you were just a 3D being and you all of a sudden activated this pure source diamond sun body, your physical body would burn out. Your nervous system would fry out. You would not survive. Okay, that's why you can't do it that way. You can't all of a sudden jump into that. You can access this information. You can work with it, understand it for healing. You could channel bits and pieces of it, but you cannot hold that whole frequency or the entire informational context of the cosmic landscape until you have this structure built, okay? And that is because you cannot maintain it. Your body literally cannot hold it. That's why we go through this process step by step by step, okay, to get here. Okay, so this is access to multidimensional information through embodiment and integration. This actually allows you to override space and time through unity and its embodiment of source. So once you get to that level, you can actually override systems, you can rewrite blueprints, you can build cosmic structures, landscapes, universes, etc. Okay, so at the 12D level, what is 12D is primal sound. Okay, I don't know why I'm writing this, but I am. Okay, primal sound is the divine mother, the divine father, and the divine child. Okay, it was birthed from pure source, and it was essentially the first emanations or individuations of source that birthed through a pressure process, a pressure of source trying to expand, to have its experience. And it was 3 fields, 3 beings, if you want. Okay, the divine child, the rays are the violet, pink ray, and the blue aqua ray. Blue aqua is the divine mother. Violet, pink ray is the divine father, which is a little bit polarized, but remember, we're in the 3D, which is focused on the inversion. Okay, the energies of the blue ray and the pink ray align most with the masculine, which is more of the red energy, it's just a higher frequency, and the feminine, which is a softer blue, harmony energy. Okay, so if that makes sense. And then we have the divine child, which is gold. Okay, that's terrible. Divine child is gold. Okay, so the divine child is the merging of the masculine and the feminine. Divine child is also Christ consciousness. Okay, it's the gold ray of Christ consciousness. Okay, it is the merging of masculine and feminine at the 12D level. Okay, people can access this energy through channeling little by little, but once you activate the diamond sun, you're embodying the divine mother, the divine father, and the divine child, Christ consciousness, in its purest form, but also the primal individuations of the cosmos. And the cosmos, in my cosmology, is source. It's everything. It's not just a universal sphere. If you read my books and my texts, we have source, which is cosmos, and then we have material universes all over the place, okay? Many, many different universes. We are the only universe that lives in the inversion. That's why this darkness is a lot more dramatic than other universes, and we're actually moving out of that darkness. Eventually, we're moving from the 2 points of duality, which is where we are now with the inversion. Okay, humans are here. Our heart space is the center between void source and pure source. We have the ability to move into the angelic human realms, which is 5D here and above. If you move towards the source void, which is the darkness, etc., and you're only moving towards that direction, thinking that is true light, then you're going to go further and further into the darkness, okay? This process does not mean you're getting closer to source void. It means you're actually mastering it, transmuting it, and healing it, because you're doing it in a balanced way. It's very difficult to move through this, but that's what we teach, okay? If somebody's in 3D and they're moving towards source void and that's it, they are lost, going in the wrong direction. Even if somebody thinks they're going in the right direction, it is going further and further and further away from true source, to light. You lose power. You actually have to become parasitic to gain power, okay? That's how you know somebody is in these lower realms. Somebody that is working either from the heart or channeling energy from pure source energy is self-sourced. Again, I'm so sorry for my handwriting. That's how you know it's angelic, okay? So you expand, you work through stuff. This is everything you have to work through within yourself, your environment, your community, your family, until everything is cleared, all darkness. You understand it consciously, okay? You can't hold this type of light body, this size, without understanding the darkness and how to actually confront, clear, transmute, or contain the darkest darkness. Because once you hold this power of pure source, pure light, you can actually clear, heal, and contain that power also. Okay, so that's essentially what we're looking at with the light bodies. I was getting download after download after download after download this morning about these structures and how we can explain them to help people navigate, okay? If you're working from the heart, and it doesn't mean, this is really important, this does not mean that you work from the heart and you go up into the higher realms, okay? You have to integrate and heal the lower chakras and the lower energies, and that's how you evolve. You do it this way, okay? And then once you get into 5D, then you reground into a different core, and you're not anchored into the inversion anymore, but you can still heal these energies. So a lot of info. I'll try and do more of these to help you guys understand without it being so convoluted. So for now, just think about the advanced light body stages and how with each evolution it gets larger in space-time. Even though it doesn't actually exist, it does actually get larger, okay? And you have access to more and more information. So each tetrahedron accesses a different density, a different reality through space and time, and then they all start working together, delivering information to the human, to your DNA, to your third eye. If it's open, you know, it doesn't have to be open to have this, because you're just a source fractal. You'll feel things and you become a living conduit for source energy and for the divine, okay? So that's how that works. So I hope that was helpful. I'll do more of these. Sending love. Bye.